This video is going to be a quick reminder for those that are very curious, those that recognize that way of being a very curious person, of having a very curious mind. I am myself one of those. It is easy for me to get into rabbit holes. Yeah, trying to find answers. I'm just like curious and intense. I have this part of my personality that is very intense. If you identify yourselves also as someone like that, I'm glad, I'm happy for you that you are in this video, because after going through my last rabbit hole, it was an intense one, and I was very passionate about what I was learning about. But then being present with all the sensations, all the emotions that I was experiencing during the process of learning and researching and trying to find the answers and trying to connect all the dots, I was like, this is not a good feeling. This does not feel good. I went through some anxiety, stress, and I was like, I already have a lot of these things in my life, like the normal stresses and the normal things that life already brings. So why do we add more? It was very interesting realization. So I wanted to share, in case you are in the self-discovery, self-development space, and you are feeling like you need to read one more book. You need to find that one person that knows all the answers, that one person that you can trust. I think for me, after my journey of exploration and exploring my feelings and exploring what I was exposed to, I think the conclusion gets back to trust. Because if you are a little bit like me, I think for a lot of people, this is just like a very normal behavior and tendency that we humans have of wanting to know who can we trust, who is the person that we can really trust, who's the person that we can. I'm gonna say that also I have this part of my personality where I like to discern. I like to get to the root of things. I'm very good at that. It's one of my talents. It's one of my gifts. So if you identify yourself also as someone that has that ability of just getting to the bones of things, getting to the root, the authenticity, the essence, the core essence of things, I think we do that exercise all the time when we are around other people. Like, oh, can I trust you? Is that what you're saying really truthful to who you are? Like, we spend a lot of energy doing that exercise. Again, it's a gift, but I just think we have been misusing it. I have misusing it, like spending my ability to do that with subjects and information that I don't really need to be exposing myself. So I kind of want to say that I want to say that it is very easy when we have this gift, when we have this ability of discerning and getting to the root of things. It's easy to just start applying that way of being and way to interact with life everywhere we go. And that takes a lot of our energy and takes a lot of our power. So I want to share a little bit of the journey I went through, because I think it's a subject that is relevant, it's important, and actually I have shared a couple of videos talking about this subject. And the thing is that it's becoming very popular. So Mel Robbins, she is a wonderful human. I admire her so much. She has a podcast. I'm very selective with the things that I'm exposed to. As I've been saying in this video already, you probably can tell, I'm a very selective person. So it's not like I'm listening to podcasts or reading audiobooks or reading news all the time. It is, I have, dedicated a space where I'm not watching Netflix or new these days. So I have some time during the week, usually on the weekends, where I watch the people that I know I'm going to learn. I'm very intentional. Anyway, so it's not that I've been watching Mel Robbins podcasts for years. I just recognize her, and I can tell, from the people that come to her podcasts that are also people that I've been following from other, that I've been following for a while. So, um, yeah, I trust her content and the work she does. She's been, as I said, at many other podcasts from people that I also admire. And the conversation she was having, it was super fascinating for me because it was during the same time I was reflecting about this subject of hormones, women's especially. Um, 6 months ago, probably 5 months ago, I started having my own process journey of understanding, like how is affecting, how the changes in my hormones are affecting or have been affecting um, my lifestyle. And it was kind of light, my relationship with this subject, or this question, curiosity. I have to say that, yeah, I didn't go that deep. I think from the approach I was interacting with this subject, it was just from my sensations in my body. I didn't do a lot of research. I was just noticing changes. And the thing that I did was just paying attention to the different phases of my cycle um, for 5 to 6 months, until the last month that I started noticing major changes, that I was like, maybe there's something else that I can do. Maybe there's something else that happens for women. I'm in my mid 30s. So I started getting curious again. And I started doing a little research with ChatGPT. You can do all kind of things with ChatGPT these days. It has all the information you want. So the research was understanding the different foods I needed to eat for each phase of my cycle, and the recipe. So I was kind of like, oh, this is so fun, it's so cool. I connected with different parts of that. I guess I'm sharing now about the subject. It is very fascinating, and it was very interesting for me to know, to learn for first time. I guess that knowledge has been there forever, and I only clicked. I only had the clicks, some of the important ones, until now. And it's the fact that, you know, our cycles are 28 days. The moon changes every. The cycle of the moon is also 28 days, and um, it's just a fact, that women's we change every 28 days. It's not like we change every 20 days or 35. It's actually from 28 to 35, but it's like it's the same amount of days as the moon. um, and I'm coming from Colombia, South America, and we hear, growing up, always you learn at school that indigenous work with the phases of the moon to grow, the to harvest and to heal and to do all these things. So it's knowledge, wisdom, information that has been out there, and I'm just connecting to this information at this time in my life. And the thing with women especially is that depending on each phase of the cycle, our bodies need different things. That's why we should be eating different things according to the phase of our cycle we are at. And I was just doing that exploration during this week when I saw Mel Robbins podcast talking with this doctor, female doctor. I think they are, I want to say, in their 60s probably. They both seem mature women. And they weren't only sharing about hormones. That's what I was like, wow, is this very similar to my experience? Because if you start reflecting a little bit about what could be going on with women's hormones right now in 2025, it is very easy to very quickly to get to the answer that get to the realization that a lot of the issues we are experiencing with your hormones are related to factors like diet and lifestyle. Because if just to name a few of the things, like birth control is not that old, and disease and issues, health issues from birth control are not that old either. That's kind of like in the last 40-50 years that we have been experiencing all this increase in health and women's health, right? So you quickly, if you start getting curious about what could be going on with my hormones, you quickly, these days, 2025, you get to these roots of the whole situation. So I had that feeling 5 months ago, as I said, like, oh God, it's like women still live a life where I want to say it feels unbalanced, like the nature of a woman's body. It feels still like we cannot, most of us don't have the lifestyle that our body, the nature of our body requires. And I think some of us already knew this and we adapted, and because there are not many different options how to do life, we kept, and that's a lot of the nature of women also, like we adapt, right? We are caring and we are givers, so it's just we have been adapting for many years. But I think it's just very different when you have your own realization about these kind of things and you're like, oh God, that's where the issues might be coming from. It's very different when you have that realization and maybe you share with your mom and your sister and you're like, God, and you're questioning life, like, how did we get here? Like, it's crazy. And you start creating all these conclusions, but it is another story when you watch a podcast like Mel Robbins. It's so well known, it's kind of, this is coming from my heart, like I'm not being judgmental about Mel Robbins at all, but it's mainstream, like everyone knows Mel Robbins, right? So when you see these kind of conclusions, conversations in one of these outlets or one of these what's another word to say, like in media, that is just so accessible for everyone these days, you're like, shit, I'm not only right in my feelings, in my conclusions. It's just, I had this little moment of yeah, a lot of emotions, like realizing, like, God, it is true, it is a fact. So I had this whole experience and I started this video sharing that at the end of having this experience of going through so many different emotions, and also I had this moment with the doctor Mel was interviewing, because I didn't know her, so I had that little moment that if you are someone that likes to discern, I'm sure you do the same, like while I was listening to her, of course I went to Google to research her and to understand, what kind of doctor she is, and I was paying attention to the conversation and trying to analyze, like, should I trust this person? Is she, is she being honest with everything she's saying, or she's just trying to sell her next book or something like that? And we all do these things, right? And yes, there's a little bit of everything, she actually has a book and maybe she was also promoting her book, but there are layers of truth in what she was saying too, because it's just like, as I was saying, like, I got to those conclusions before even listening to a podcast, right? So there is a collective truth that we are sharing in what is happening. And what they share, it's a little extreme, I want to say. Not extreme in the fact that it could be a lie. Extreme in the reality. Like the percentage of women dealing with autoimmune disease, it's just insane. It's super crazy. Like, we are, in the group of people, in my group of friends, let's say I have 10 girlfriends that are close to me. I don't know any of the women around me in my life right now. I don't know any that is not dealing with hormones, diet, stress, anxiety. Everyone has some layers of this, right? And pretty much is just, yeah, listen to a podcast that is confirming where, especially in women, all these symptoms come from. And also reaffirming. It's just like, how can I give another example that maybe everyone can relate to? It's like the climate change. It's like, okay, we might have other 30 years. I'm exaggerating, because in 30 years we can end up damaging more the world, but also in 30 years we might have seen a lot of progress and innovation and things that can save the world. So I know you probably understand what I'm trying to say. So the reality right now is very extreme and very dramatic. Um, and I also have to say, in my own life, in my own experience, I do have girlfriends that have really, really extreme and, yeah, health issues due to hormones unbalanced. Um, so that can be overwhelming, realizing that that's the truth, that that's the reality that women have, you know. And it's just like, yeah, you experience all the feelings. It's just like, oh God, it's frustrating. I don't know what to do from here. What should I do? Um, and the whole idea of this video is to share that how I would like to approach life, not only women's hormones from now on, especially when I think from now on we're gonna continue hearing all these kind of issues, not only health but the climate and politics, and that are gonna be extreme things that we will have to deal with, and things where we won't be able to create a lot of change. It makes me think a lot. I keep hearing the image of black people. They also live in a reality that uh, is restricted. Like, there's not a lot of, if we can say, freedom in what they can do. That probably can create a little bit more of empathy with the whole thing. It's like there are some realities in the world we live in right now that I don't think we might have a lot of impact, and we might be able to create a lot of change during the time that we are gonna be alive. This is the reality. So, one of the questions I had after going through this rabbit hole of information and questioning myself, and trying to find, okay, how do I want to do life? Like, I'm already experiencing some of those symptoms. I already can see how close I am to be dealing with some of these hormone things. Like, I might be, and I don't even like, I might be having some of those layers of things. I don't even want to get into, you know. I have also like this approach to health and medicine where I think, you know, every symptom we have in our body is a response of our emotional self. So I'd rather to, focus on myself, and give my emotional self what in it, so my body can be in harmony with who I am, who I want to be. Um, So of course I got to that moment of, okay, I need to find the next book, I need to get more information, I need to get informed from the right person and who is the person that I can truly trust. And when I got to that question, I had this little moment of just having so much resistance and fear in a way. Yeah, like feeling disappointed and just not knowing what to do. Then I was like, okay, how can I feel better? How can I feel good about this whole thing? What is one step that I can take? What is one thing small that I can do right now just to flip or just to, yeah, transform this sensation that I'm having? I'm feeling so frustrated. I'm feeling trapped. I'm feeling like, yeah, I don't have control of my body. I don't have control of my life, which is just another example that is coming to my mind now. Like if you think about gay community, about yeah, I think a lot of gay people experience these kind of feelings. They feel trapped in their bodies, in society. So we're not the only ones. The world we live in these days still have a lot of these situations where some people experience the way I am experiencing at the moment. The conclusion I got, the baby step I can take to feel different, to just being able to still experience the beautiful emotions of life, the beautiful feelings we get to experience as humans, was not worrying about who is the next person I need to learn the right information from, who is the next person I can truly trust, because there's not a way to measure that, there's not a way to control that. That's something that is going to be changing all the time. I might be able to trust someone today, but that person might have an experience and I might not relate to their experience and I might not be able to trust them the next week, the next month, the next day. That's something that it is outside of us. And I think that's the reflection and that's the conclusion I got to, and what I would like to share with everyone. It is that we spend so much time searching for external validation, for external resources, for external answers. And we are in a world today where I'm sure you are aware of this, like how many podcasts are there right now? Podcasts like Mel Robbins, tons. Doctors, as the doctor, I don't even remember the doctor of that was at this podcast. How many doctors are not writing books about the different subjects of life and how they have, ideas and wonderful discoveries of what could be the cause and what could be the solutions. A lot of information. And the rabbit holes are going to be bigger and bigger and bigger these days. We can get absolutely lost and we can feel like how I felt this week, like overwhelmed, disappointed, and not feeling like I could get in one answer. It's just like could be many answers like I had, and I'm not again judging this person. I'm sure she's a wonderful person, but the podcast had this emotion, this that you share knowledge, and knowledge is one thing, but the emotion you share the knowledge is another thing. It can totally change the knowledge that you are um, sharing. So I don't want to get too lost in the point I want to make here. I know you relate with the idea that it's just gonna be very difficult to find that one answer, that one direction, that one recommendation, that one diet, that one recipe, that one prescription. ChatGPT, it's like um, artificial intelligence. It's just gonna continue getting bigger and bigger, and they're gonna be way more and more and more. information and ideas and ways to do life and ways to do things. So my reflection, the place I got, which took me from having anxiety and fear and feeling very confused to feeling like I got somewhere, to a place that feels safe, is that we need to, I think we need and we can come back to ourselves. And instead of asking that question of who can I trust, it would be absolutely beautiful if we can return that question to ourselves and ask if we can trust ourselves, or even better, if I cannot trust myself right now and I need to trust someone else to tell me what to do or what is the right thing to do, how can I trust myself again? And it's just, I'm sure if you're asking yourself this question right now, you're gonna feel a lot of peace. No matter how healthy we get to be in this life, no matter how much knowledge, no matter how much information we get to learn in this life, if we learn to trust ourselves again, if we learn to trust ourselves in life, everything is gonna be fine. We will trust that every step we take in life, every decision we make in life is gonna be enough and it's gonna be the right one. We are distracted, we live very busy lives, and it's easy for us to be more outside than inside. And not many of us make the time, spend the time developing that relationship with the inside. And that's why we cannot trust ourselves. We don't know ourselves, and if we don't know ourselves, how are we going to trust ourselves? The more we develop that relationship with ourselves, we will listen to that inner guidance. And the more we will remember that everything is always going to be okay, no matter how it looks, no matter what we experience. That when we are in presence, everything is fine. No matter the shape it takes, no matter how it looks. Being in presence and loving and accepting everything about the present moment and who we are is more than enough. So yeah, just a quick reminder. I think it was a very long video, but I hope you received the message, and I hope you feel inspired to get back to yourself, to develop that relationship with yourself, to stop. I would recommend stop for 6 months, 3 months. I would say 6 to 9 months would be really good, depending. It's always different for everyone depending where you are in life, but just spending some time with yourself, sometimes just to get to know yourself, to develop a very strong relationship with yourself. Spending that time in self-discovery, self-development. Yes, read a couple of books, but don't get in that rabbit hole of thinking that someone else is going to give you the answers, and because it's a never-ending thing. You learn from one teacher, and there's always one that knows a little more. There's always more and more and more and more in life. So do it for a little bit, but always remember that the most important place is here. This is your home. Being in this present moment with yourself is where you will find and you will know all the answers and direction and guidance and everything you need to know. Next steps and decisions about health and life and everything. So wishing you so much luck, and sending you love. I hope to see you in my next video. Peace and love.